So, what's your earliest memory?
Well, I remember with my dad that when we were going to church, to go to church was we had to go past the cemetery, then there was a road going to Skunda.
Okay.
And I can show you on Google
Yes.
where the church was. I think there's still those trees. There's a tree there where the church was.
Okay.
And because after the church, then there was a house which had the straw roof on it.
Mm-hmm.
And the roof line was very low, so if you were an adult, you had to duck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like inside.
Pardon?
When you say you had to duck,
Well,
it wasn't
because-
just to get in, but also once you were inside.
You know, the inside was higher.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just saying.
Oh, just the
The eave went
yeah.
very low.
Gotcha.
And then that road goes off to Scrund. If my dad could carry me, that says I was 3 years old probably.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also remember how tall the slop bucket was. It was pretty tall, but and once I jumped over the garden fence, or tried to climb over,
Mm-hmm.
and my pants or something caught on the fence, and I hurt my arm.
Oh,
But it hurt, but it obviously wasn't that bad,
yeah.
because nothing got done about it.
Time.
Yeah,
A little bit of soap, I'm guessing.
yeah. And we made our own strings, ropes, so
Uh-huh.
how to make those we learned. I remember having to take dinner or lunch or something out to my dad who was working out in the fields.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember how big your farm was?
33 hectares. So that's about 80 acres. That's a pretty good size.
Yeah.
And the energy was horses. So there's saw pictures. He was at a mower, but that was also for a plow or a harrow or mower or the reaper.
Okay.
I don't have pictures of the reaper, but the Ivers does.
Hmm.
And between our house and the woods, there was a hillock. And during Russian time, they flattened it, so it's not there anymore.
Was that just something that happened over time because of all of the tanks and such, or?
What do you mean?
So when you say hillock, I think of a hill.
There was a little hill
Yeah.
section, and during Russian time with tractors and all that kind
Everything over it.
they leveled the land,
Okay.
and in fact they put in a drainage ditch which goes next to the woods and cut off a section of our property.
Yeah.
And as a result, they assigned us a little bit in the neighbor's property. And we, in principle, owned it. And Peter rented it to the co-host, or from which he got, don't ask me what. He got some potatoes and, I don't know, got some money out. But Ivers was the heir of it, but we transferred it to Peter.
Oh.
Yeah, so he was owner. And I don't know how many years ago, he sold it to the co-host for, I don't know, 33,000 lot or whatever it was. But
When did he sell it? Was that after Latvia got its independence?
oh
then?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this the time that I guess Ivers and I were over there, they measured and did this business of saying, okay, we're going to move the property line, and they put in a post or a marker. Yeah. So I think that was.
What if that was like 92 or
It
something?
was in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then Peter sold it probably 10 years ago or something.
Okay.
Peter, unfortunately, had to say, I don't know, Kristavs kept helping him out. When his job ended, or the factory that he worked for ceased functioning, he basically went on retirement.
Okay.
And he never tried to get another job.
Who is Kristavs? Is that who
Kristavs is Uncle Adolf.
Oh.
Adolf's husband.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And
I have memories of you and Evers coming to the house in Clarkston.
yeah, and they visited
talking.
too. Uncle Adolf and I also visited.
Yes. But I'm remembering one specific trip, and it was after Latvia had, either it was when Latvia was getting its independence. It's either like in the mid to late 80s, or it could have even been early 90s. But it seems like Evers and you had shipments going to Patras.
Yeah,
You sending blue jeans
yeah.
and Evers sending money because
Yeah.
you couldn't send money if Evers was sending money or something like that.
Ivers was sent money, and Uncle Kristavs Adolf, he would send him all sorts of stuff. And at Christmas time, I sent stuff from Costco and places from here, and to a whole bunch of relatives. But now I send it to Peter, Uncle Parcel, and Yuli's in Salisbury. See, he's also a cousin. But anymore, they can get stuff there. So it's, and actually, Yuli has sent us stuff, and I think the candy you ate, it was provided by Yuli's.
Okay.
So, no ditches.
Oh.
Okay, what's my earlier memories? So that's, there's all sorts of, what the place looked like, and that I remember. I remember visually.
Yeah. I was wondering if I know that you showed me the picture of it, and I want to say it was fallen down. It was after the war.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, is that the only picture you have of it, or are there any other pictures of it before?
Oh, there are pictures also earlier, but there is not necessarily a picture from distance. That's the problem. There's something that shows any of the greenery, cool glades, because by it there's a telephone pole.
Okay.
We had, I guess, one of the earlier telephones. We're not as early as Scops and Tony's. Place. Because they were 12, we were 36. And Parsons, the house where they were at that time, which was close to the church, they were 35.
Was that like the street number?
Telephone number.
Telephone number. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I thought that there weren't street numbers.
No.
Okay.
Those are phone numbers.
Yeah.
And that's what they were up to the wartime, and that's what they're at now. They're 6-8 digit numbers, so up with the times.
Yeah, the earliest phone number I remember was 7 digits back in Clarkson. I guess technically speaking, we had more digits than that, but you didn't have to know the first 3.
Yeah. As long as you were like, we didn't have to use a 301.
Yeah.
But then the 301, the area, and then Maryland. 301 was Maryland. Then they got 443, and never mind.
Yeah.
And 240 is now more of this mobile. And,
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Atlanta kind of blossomed a bunch of area codes all at once. I guess it's been like 10, 20 years ago.
Yep. It's like when your grandfathers, when the Sudmalis came to work our house, they got the middle section of the house, that's where they lived, of course. And we stayed in our end, and grandparents were the other end, and of course, there was always, didn't mean you went outside of it. You just went go grandparents, you went
Straight through.
Yeah, because they were all connected.
Yeah.
And in that section, there was living room, there were bedrooms, kitchen. Just because you put a bed in there doesn't mean it wasn't a bedroom.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, when you were a small child, did somebody watch after you? Or, I mean, was it more or less that there were just always people around?
I don't there was always grandmother there.
Yeah.
This was sort of an extended family.
Yeah.
And as soon as we could do something, we were given responsibility.
Yes.
And that's how you were a little shepherd boy, you hauled food out to people out in the field.
It makes
they
sense.
didn't have thermos to carry water with, so I guess you hauled out some water in a jug or something.
Okay.
And so it all wasn't that close,
Yeah, if the farm that you were on was 80 acres-ish.
80 acres is, might say a quarter mile by half a mile. and the half a mile was the direction from the part that was towards Stone Eats, and that was about a third of the way. And then most of it was towards the forest, the woods.
Okay.
And the woods at that time were mostly pine trees. And then there were roads which don't exist anymore,
Yeah.
which I can sort of draw you how they went, and there's still evidence through the woods where they were, but not so great, 50, 60 years does.
Makes a difference. Yeah.
And the war sort of took care of the pine trees, were just sticks after the war.
Yeah.
Because of fires that got started, and that's where people shot at each other. And they were still, what you call them, these deep, where the soldiers had dug in. Trenches.
Yeah. Yeah.
When we went there, so, and that was a little bit after the war, 50 years.
A little
More or
bit.
less. Yeah, 45, yeah. But on the other hand, in Germany, when we visited, there was still, you could see where the Romans had been. And that was a couple of years before that.
A few.
So, and I presume no one's going to go fill up these ditches till nature fills them up, or it has some reason for doing it.
Yeah.
They may not be as deep as they used to be.
So do you have memories of the war? Like, what's your earliest memories of the war?
Well, I guess by definition is what's the earliest memories of the war. The Russians came in first, they just took over.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you have memories of that happening?
I know.
Like anybody coming to your house?
Nobody came to the house or anything, but Dad saying something about Latvian money was not worth anything anymore,
Okay.
and then when the Germans came, I'm trying to think of, there was we could see stuff burning in Leopold from, some, but again, that was rather quick. And then in 41, when we were in Riga, we heard some boom, boom, boom
Yeah.
kind of stuff, but not much. And of course, we were in Riga only from September through about March or thereabouts. And then we're back on the farm. And the thing that really brought it home when they were, I don't know where the front lines were at that time, but it was in summertime, and I was sitting on the steps by the end of the barn, facing towards the woods, and there came a Russian plane, it lightened its load of bombs at the edge of the forest line, hearing these explosions, which I hadn't experienced before. And he came to where he was heading back away from the Germans. And then I think Richard had to go, an uncle had to go dig some, what do you call these pits and
Trenches.
trenches?
Yes.
But that are where I think that was towards the Lithuania direction,
Mm-hmm.
other side of Pompeii, but where they had to go, I don't know.
Okay. When was it that you remember the Russian airplane dropping its load? Was that like in 44?
Oh no, that
Or was
was
it earlier?
that was earlier.
Okay.
That was coming towards 44. Now I come to think about it, because after that life got that was coming into 44.
Uh-huh.
Because after that, it's when you guys, your dad and, not your dad, your grandfather,
Yeah.
Richard, had to go and dig trenches.
Uh-huh.
I was too small.
Yes.
So, and then the front lines sort of stopped in Lithuania, and then they started coming from Riga direction, from the east.
Oh yeah.
And that's when Peter and Aunt came through on the horse, on the wagon.
So was that in 44 probably?
That was in 44,
Yeah.
August.
Okay.
They were on to Germany, and Uncle could not go. He was not permitted. He was work, right? Labor.
Okay.
So that's, and then in the fall of 44, things got, we heard boom, boom, booms a lot more than, and then when they started putting up howitzers behind the neighbor's fence and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot, and Germans sort of evacuated us out of the house into the barn.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess the house was a command post,
Oh.
because we had the phone line connected to us, but that's where also saw an Enigma machine. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
A German code machine.
Yes.
There was one of those in our house.
You said who saw it?
I did.
You did. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so I knew what it was later.
Yeah.
What I had seen.
Was it like a small?
Small, it was,
Yeah.
you know, like a typewriter.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was a little bit smaller than that, but okay.
No, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It is the size it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know where you had to go to see one. There's one in D.C. you can see.
Yeah.
And I don't know which museum you had to go to.
I'll have to Google that later on. Where?
The Enigma machine.
Actually, I probably should capitalize that E. Machine. In DC.
But that one I haven't seen.
Yeah.
So that was also, I guess, again, I'm not sure of the year, but it was like 42 or 43 when we had some sort of, I don't know what, some sort of a cabbage, but it was leafy stuff that we grew for giving to the animals. Now, I'm calling it the cabbage for lack of better description. It was, have substance,
Yes.
which we could also chop up. And Ivers and I went out to get it, and he went up with a hatchet and bumped me in the head, and it didn't hurt till I saw the blood. Yeah. So, is it here? On one side one can see some scars.
Okay.
So one of those is from Ivers, and the other one is from Richard.
Ooh, what was that?
And while we were at DP camp, he shot a rock towards me and hit me. And I guess the boys had sort of, I don't know what you call them, made groups. Now they have another name for them.
Clicks?
No. They do bad things.
Gangs?
Gangs.
Yeah.
It was closer to a gang.
Oh, jeez.
When I got wounded, there was peace made. So I think that
Blood was shed.
Blood was shed. It was innocent blood.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to
Others
ask.
could comment more on that than I can, because I was not in the,
You weren't in the know.
I was a small kid.
Yes.
Yeah. It was in the older group.
So did y'all roughhouse either back in Latvia? Did y'all play nice or kind of?
We played pretty nice.
Good.
In Latvia. I'm saying that the roughhousing could have gotten in the, while we were in DP camp, but then the Latvians decided that they should not have between themselves. And
Wonder if Richard got in trouble a lot. I don't know what Richard was like, but it just kind of strikes me if he started kind of being a little bit of a wild child at the TP camp, that would be easy to imagine, although I don't know that.
He was big for his age. He was big.
Yeah.
Of course, in the DP camp, they got scouts, which organized, which sort of took care of
Excess energy.
Self-energy.
Yeah.
And of course, the scoutmaster was a case I have learned since, in that the time he wasn't taking care of the scouts, he was playing cards in the back room with other men. So, and the scouts used to, give something constructive to aim for the kids.
Yeah. Which was good, especially at that time.
Yeah, give something for the kids to do instead of trying to figure out for themselves things they shouldn't do. And where in Latvia things were, well, Richard and your mother were at our house.
Yeah.
And, we didn't. We played together. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
And there's.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't know if I should say this or not.
Go ahead. I can always cut it.
Yeah. Like I said, Richard was the only person that had a knife. And he said, I bet you're afraid to cut it off. He's off. So had I been brave, then you may not have any cousins. So, Richard and Ivers were in the smithy one time, and they did, I don't know, they pounded on a 22 shell with a hammer.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And Richard got a piece of copper in his finger. And so it also got infected. And medical services were not that much about. And when a German army guy was around, let's see,
Uncle.
aunt, was trying to get him to look at Richard's infection, but somehow or another he got the piece of metal out. So
Okay. I have memories of an old Bugs Bunny cartoon that dates back to World War II, and it's got a gremlin character, and the gremlin has got a hammer and is hammering a bomb. And for some odd reason, that's what came to mind whenever you talked about them hammering on a
22 shell.
22 shell. Not quite as big.
Yeah. We also, while we were in the smithy, somehow where the German hand grenades, the head and the handle were unscrewed from one another.
Yeah.
And Ivers and Richard filed the head apart and emptied the pink powder.
Oh.
Where then I don't remember, it was one of them pulled the hand grenade and threw it, and then there was some smoke that they generated, which would have been the igniter for but not much happened. And
Because they had diffused it by...
well, there was nothing to explode really,
Yeah,
because we had...
because gunpowder wasn't in there.
that was, I don't know what the powder is, but
But
all I can tell it was pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, the explosive. There was obviously something also in the handle that would have, but I don't know how the A lit the B, but since there was no,
Gotcha.
so that was, and then while at camp, ammunition was the toy powder was fun to burn. You took a shell, you loosened the bullet, you dumped out part of the powder, then you pushed the bullet back down and poured the rest of the powder on. And when you lit it, the stoom. And we borrowed a file from somebody, and unfortunately the bullet broke the file.
The what?
Yeah, the bullet busted the file.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. But at that point, it was Ivers and me, not Richard. So, yeah.
Can't blame it on Richard this time.
Yeah.
Oh.
So. Yep. That's when we were in Karlsruhe, and they were in Neuburg.
Oh, you said in elementary school? So
What?
was that when y'all were still in Pompeii?
No. I said this one. It was in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, in Germany. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but even see, while we were in Latvia, there was serious bullets flying around, and so we didn't get to play with ammunition till we were in Germany,
Okay.
and mostly after the war.
Okay.
So,
Oh, yeah.
Because till the war ended, either the Germans or the Americans had the ammunition, and after the war, the Germans says, okay, it's not ours, not our worry anymore.
Yeah.
And like the Danube there by the camp, there was a train track just for ID purposes. And under that, there was 20 millimeter shells and whatnot. Of course, that had a lot of powder in it, but it was all wet. And I can't remember where we would get these hollow tubes of powder, which was for artillery. I don't remember where those came for, but if you lit it and you stepped on it, it became a rocket and go choo. And then it was not a controlled flight, so it sometimes changed directions, and it was unpredictable directions it went. But it was fun. And next to the camp, there were, in the factory area, there were little sheds, kind of, that had ammunition in. That's where we got it, in quantity. So, and I guess it was a BMW factory.
Oh.
That
Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie.